The award-winning BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. Over 1 million views in 2024. We're where you need to advertise. Subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the over 5,500 subscribers watching local sports, Union University, Bethel College, and USJ. Multi-camera broadcasts, slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
On this beautiful Saturday afternoon, McKenzie, Tennessee, you see the great shot supplied by Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave McCulley. The Wildcats back home. Only a 4-game schedule this year, and we're glad to be with you this afternoon from Walter Butler Stadium on the campus of Bethel University. I'm joined today by Trevor Roof and Derek Hubble. Good to have Zach O'Kelly back. He's going to do stats for us later. Hubble's been a little under the weather, but he's feeling much better, so he's going to join us on the broadcast side today as well. This ball game today being brought to you by Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz. Be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel of Worthy Roads, and you'll see a lot of different things there that you will really enjoy. We hope you'll see a great game today, too. The Cats coming in 2-2 overall and 1-0 in the Mid-South Conference. Meanwhile, Cumberland coming out of Lebanon, Tennessee, 4-1 and 0-0 in conference play. Should be a doozy of a game. Cats have won 2 in a row, and of course they lost that forfeit down at Weber International. Unfortunate situation. We talked about that the last time we were with you, but the Cumberland University Phoenix coming out of Lebanon, coached by Tim Mathis, overall record 7-3 last year, his conference record 3-3. Meanwhile, Chris Springer is the new coach, and he is 2-2 on his short career here and doing a great job already with his Wildcat football program. About 27 minutes before we kick it off, I'm going to step out. We have some AD duties that we're going to be attending to. Good to see Shantae Emerson. She's in the house. It's like old times here, having Shantae Hubble and Zach O'Kelly back, and Trevor Roof, he's the newcomer, but not so new to us. He's been around for a few years with us as well. When we come back, it will be taking you up to kickoff. Trevor Roof and Derek Hubble, they'll take you up, and I'll be back with a play-by-play. This is Bethel football today on Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz. Stay with us.
Don't get hit with big repair bills. Keep your heating system off the disabled list with a pre-season checkout from McCoy's Heating and Air Conditioning. Our technicians are specially trained to get your system in shape for the fall and winter seasons. You can sit back and enjoy the game, knowing our Daikin certified and trained technicians can repair or replace your HVAC system, keeping everyone happy and you off the bench. Let McCoy's tackle your system's maintenance. Your HVAC system's MVP. McCoy's Heating and Air.
Whether you're a designer, homeowner, builder, commercial, residential, we're here to help make ideas come to reality. Builder finished products, 10 United Drive in Jackson. Come see us.
Have you ever thought about real estate investments or purchasing a home? Are you tired of dealing with the headaches of managing your real estate portfolio? Cornerstone Realty has you covered. We can advise you on anything real estate related. Your property, our priority. Cornerstone Realty and Property Management.
Hey Jackson, it's game time, and the winning lineup is right here at Chuck Hutton Nissan. Our top players are ready to take the field. Rogue, Sentra, Pathfinder, Altima, and Kicks. Big savings, special incentives, and Nissan's built to win the game. Don't sit on the sidelines. Run to Chuck Hutton Nissan today and make the winning drive home in your new Nissan. Chuck Hutton Nissan, just off I-40, exit 80 or 80B on Van Drive in Jackson, Tennessee.
Buying a home is a major milestone, and at the Bank of Jackson, we want to help you achieve it. Our mortgage specialists can assist you with conventional, VA, FHA, or construction loans, as well as USDA and THDA development loans. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
An hour ago, Theo airballed the game-winning shot. But at Zaxby's, he's dunking all over these fools. Zax sauce, bang. Tongue torch, boom. Hot honey mustard. My man's putting on a clinic.
Welcome to Dunk City.
And one, baby.
Thanks, baby. Dude. Babe, dude.
Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to McKenzie, Tennessee, here in this beautiful Saturday afternoon as the Cats are getting ready to host the Phoenix of Cumberland University out of Lebanon, Tennessee. as we're here for the pregame presented to you by Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz. The Wildcats jumped into lead play last Saturday, traveling to Montgomery, Alabama to face Faulkner University, which was a dominating performance where the Cats saw a 30-7 victory, and the Cats will attempt to make it 2 conference wins in a row as they host Cumberland here today at Walter Butler Stadium. Cats will be facing a program that they have first met back in 1947. Cumberland was off last weekend, so I'd like to think that the Phoenix are nice and rested, but the Cats will definitely be enjoying a trip here at home. What do you think about that, Derek Hubble?
Well, I think that, Cumberland did have the week off last week, and during that week off, they also got some fortunate news on their behalf. The team that they played the week before had to take a forfeit, so they pick up another win. They were originally 3-2 coming into this game, and then after they got the decision of the forfeit, moves them to 4-1 now. So I'm sure they come in here hyped up, 4-1. They're receiving votes, so trying to get in that top 25 area, just like the Cats are trying to do. Step by step, the Cats continue to prove, that they deserve a chance to be in that top 25. And today will be a good test for us to prove that we deserve to be in there.
No doubt about that. This will be the 29th matchup between the two programs, with the Phoenix of Cumberland leading the series 16-12. And Bethel has run the last 3 in a row, which included unfortunately, was derailed by a Cumberland University victory where they won 21-14 in Lebanon last year. As we get ready to go into this game, one note that I saw from last week's game, just based on the stat sheet, because unfortunately Faulkner was not able to live stream the video broadcast, but I noticed that the Cats played a very strong first half where they kind of controlled the pace, and as soon as Faulkner was able to answer and get a score to try and draw closer, Bethel hit real quick back on a instant touchdown that kind of pushed them forward and led them through the rest of the game. That's going to be a constant key for the Cats as they go into battle here. One of the things that they are very strong on is making sure that their quarterback, Dustin Chance, is able to deliver the ball, as he has 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions so far on the year. And the Cats are looking to hold a improvement as they have put up 25.7 points per game and only yield 14.7 per their outing. They also have 106.7 rushing yards per game and 256 yards passing per game so far this year. The run defense has been amazing as they've only allowed 61 yards per game, and opponents are averaging 176 yards in through the air. Hubble, what do you think will be one of the keys for this afternoon as the Cats get ready to face the Phoenix of Cumberland out of Lebanon, Tennessee?
Well, looking at a few other things that might be a deciding factor in this game today. Both programs met first time in 1947, and Bethel is 3-11 all-time in Lebanon, but the Cats are 9-5 here at home when they play the Cumberland Phoenix. So, with Dustin Chance and the host of running backs that we have, I think we got to establish the run early, and if we can establish that run, it's going to open the passing game up a little bit for the Cats to prevail Dustin Chance into another great week of passing.
Yeah, last week the Cats outgained the Eagles 408 yards to 166 in total offense and stifled Faulkner's attack for most of the contest. And one of the great things about Coach Springer coming in and being his first-year head coach is he was a defensive coordinator for the Wildcats last year. So, of course, when you have a defensive coordinator step up and take the head job, you always wonder, are they still going to have their hands on in the play scheming and defensive schemes and everything of that nature? And so far this season it shows that his defense is definitely still out there on the field, and it's really taken part in what's helped the Cats booster this 3-2 record, even though they had that unfortunate loss to Weber earlier on in the season.
I would agree with that. I think that, last weekend proved that, he still does have his hand into that defensive side of the ball, only giving up 7 points. And like you said, yielding 166 total offensive yards. That's a big statement from that defense. Today is Dr. Pepper Fansville Day here at Walter Butler Stadium, along with Ace's Pizza out of Paris, Tennessee. And at halftime, there's a big giveaway, is what I've been told. A year's supply of Dr. Pepper Zero, and then also a $25 voucher to Ace's Pizza.
Well, if you're here in the stands and listening to us, we're awfully grateful for you, but be sure to be listening out midway through the second quarter leading up to halftime as our public address announcer, Josh Key, will announce the winning code to everybody. It should be in their pamphlets. But as we look back towards this football game, Cumberland is averaging 25 points a game and is yielding 26.2 on defense. They average 185 rushing yards per outing and also allow 138 on the ground per game on the defensive side. They also average only allowing 113 through the air, while opponents are averaging 207 passing yards against their defense, which seems to bode well for the Wildcat offense, considering that we have a very good running game, but we also use the running game to lead into the offensive explosiveness of our deep ball threats with Chance and a lot of our receivers.
Yeah, I would agree with you there as well. Looking at this week in the Mid-South, Georgetown College goes to Faulkner University, Cumberland, Tennessee at Bethel University, and the University of Cumberland's at Lindsey Wilson. So a few quality games on tap, and I've been informed that Georgetown is going to experience another homecoming today at Faulkner. So they're going to get the opportunity to play 3 homecomings this year. And, you know, Georgetown's a good quality team. That University of Cumberland's and Lindsey match, I think that's one that a lot of people will be taking a look into, especially today in the Mid-South.
Which, as you said, going back to the homecoming, the Bethel University homecoming events will be hosted November the 1st will be the homecoming day against Georgetown, as for mentioned from Mr. Hubble there. You know, typically when a team is being known as like their homecoming game, that can be taken one of two ways. One, you're viewed as like a easy team that the home team can get a win against and have everybody go home happy, or it's viewed as like hey, this is a big game. We want to have as many people here to help support the team and hopefully be able to rally beyond the foes that are standing on the other sideline. And I think Georgetown getting 3 of them, I think that would seem to signal that they are a team that is meant to be reckoned with, especially here in the Mid-South Conference.
Especially, right now they're in that last poll, they were ranked number 19 the first week, in that first preseason poll. They were ranked 11 and then fell a few spots to number 19 after taking 2 losses. So hopefully, they'll look to rebound at Faulkner today and come back home with a win. But, like today, it's another important game for the Cats. What do the Cats have to do to prevail themselves into that top 25 this week as they get ready to get to the meat of their Mid-South Conference schedule? Only having 6 teams in the conference is really tough because you have to go out and find other opponents such as the Kaisers, the Webbers, the Florida Internationals, those teams, Mary Hardin Baylor, who I thought we played really well against. And then, unfortunate, unforeseen situation down at Kaiser where we had to take the forfeit. But, I thought the Cats, even in that first quarter, I thought the Cats played well at Kaiser before they went into that lightning delay and then pursued on into the further events that happened there. And then last week, like you said, we didn't get to see the video, but we did get to see the live streaming of the stats. And, sometimes the stats tell more of a take than the actual video evidence does.
Yeah, it sure does. And one thing that has definitely stood out for this Wildcat program is that, of course, with Springer being a defensive-minded head coach, they want to be tough-nosed on defense, and they've been so, forcing a couple turnovers, and especially in different contests. I know they had 2 against Mary Hardin Baylor, had scoop and score last week against Faulkner. That's going to definitely be a factor. As long as their defense is firing on all cylinders, they'll make it tough on any opponent that they face. And then as long as the offense is able to methodically move the ball up and down the field, they should be able to run away with this and no problem. We're going to take a commercial break right after I finish. Give a shout out to our sponsors. Bethel University would like to extend a special thanks to our sponsors this year, which are Nicky Joel Stafford Real Estate, West Tennessee Public Utility District, Smith & Smith Optometry, Trevathan's Electrical Services, Carroll Bank and Trust, Anchor Transportation, Centennial Bank, Carroll County Lumber Company, Hometown Healthcare, Joe Mahan Ford of Paris, Hometown Health Clinic, Pepsi Mid-America and Dr. Pepper, the Perkins Corporation, Tri-County Publishing, Wayne Halfway House Incorporated, and Raycar. We thank these businesses for their support in Bethel Athletics, and we'll be right back here for pregame here at Bethel University Walter Butler Stadium here in McKenzie, Tennessee. This is the pregame blitz, or BallGame Blitz rather, on Worthy Road Studios. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Cody Fitz with Fitscapes. Our business's focus is on building your dream yard at your dream home. When designing our backyards, we always like to start with our pool and patio areas first, then we complement that with the landscaping, and we finish with the lawn for all of the outdoor entertaining needs. After installation is complete, we provide annual maintenance for all of your lawn care and landscaping needs. Fitscapes, let's build something beautiful.
Whether you're a designer, homeowner, builder, commercial, residential, we're here to help make ideas come to reality. Builder finished products, 10 United Drive in Jackson. Come see us.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for supporting this broadcast. Jeremy Little, Shelter Insurance, 189 West University Parkway, Suite A, Jackson. Snyder Equipment, 1311 Lower Brownsville Road, Exit 74 on I-40.
Do you want your smile to say it all? At Elite Dental Care, we'll make you and your family feel comfortable and secure with a variety of services and state-of-the-art care. We offer sedation dentistry that will make your time in the dental chair comfortable and relaxed. Come by and see our newly renovated and expanded office in Jackson, or one of our other convenient locations in Trenton or Dyersburg. Trust your smile with Elite Dental Care, and let your smile say it all.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
And welcome back to Walter Butler Stadium here on the campus of Bethel University, where the Wildcats will take on the Phoenix today. Looking at Cumberland's head coach, Tim Mathis, he is in his 6th season as the Phoenix's mentor. Mathis is 33-40 at the Cumberland University. Phoenix head coach. This past season, he was named the Mid-South Conference Coach of the Year after leading the Phoenix to a 7-3, the best record during his tenure at Cumberland. The 7 wins season in his was the first time had been since 2017. Cumberland also reached as high as number 22 in the rankings, while being ranked or receiving votes in 4 polls throughout the season. Their first time being in the top 25 since 2018.
And while Coach Mathis will be on the far side of the field today, on the near side, Coach Springer, as a player, was a 4-year letterman and team captain as a defensive back at Bethel and Lindenwood University, earning his bachelor's degree in physical education from Lindenwood and his master's degree at Western Kentucky in 2017. Before Springer made it to Bethel University, he coached at Georgia Military College in the spring of 2017, and was also on staff at Western Kentucky, serving as the defensive assistant and cornerbacks coach. And since joining the staff, Springer has engineered one of the most consistent and opportunistic defenses in the NAIA, where his first season, the Wildcats finished 3rd in the nation with 26 takeaways, setting the tone for years of sustained excellence. And now, as Springer has been here since 2017, he has served as the defensive coordinator, assistant head coach, and recruiting coordinator. And over the course of his tenure, he has helped the Wildcats break multiple team records, setting new defensive records, and establishing Bethel as a premier defensive program in the NAIA. We are about 10 minutes away here from kickoff. We're going to take a short break, and we'll have starting lineups ready for you before we get ready to kick off here in McKenzie, Tennessee. 1:30 kick. This is the BallGame Blitz on Worthy Road Studios. We'll be right back.
At FMY Orthodontics, we believe a beautiful, healthy smile is the key to boosting confidence and enhancing quality of life. Our team of highly skilled and compassionate orthodontic professionals is dedicated to providing personalized care in a welcoming, state-of-the-art environment. Whether you're looking for traditional braces, clear aligners, or other orthodontic solutions, we offer a variety of options to meet your needs. Our goal is to provide the most effective and efficient orthodontic treatment for every patient.
Turn to the experts. Since 1955, Garrett Plumbing and Heating has been the leader in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation for West Tennessee. A proud supporter of USJ Bruin Athletics, we are your local Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Call Garrett Plumbing and Heating 668-3339 for all of your plumbing, heating, and air needs.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for supporting this broadcast. Jeremy Little, Shelter Insurance, 189 West University Parkway, Suite A, Jackson. Snyder Equipment, 1311 Lower Brownsville Road, Exit 74 on I-40.
Have you ever thought about real estate investments or purchasing a home? Are you tired of dealing with the headaches of managing your real estate portfolio? Cornerstone Realty has you covered. We can advise you on anything real estate related. Your property, our priority. Cornerstone Realty and Property Management.
Don't get hit with big repair bills. Keep your heating system off the disabled list with a pre-season checkout from McCoy's Heating and Air Conditioning. Our technicians are specially trained to get your system in shape for the fall and winter seasons. You can sit back and enjoy the game, knowing our Daikin certified and trained technicians can repair or replace your HVAC system, keeping everyone happy and you off the bench. Let McCoy's tackle your system's maintenance. Your HVAC system's MVP. McCoy's Heating and Air.
Let me tell you about the American Dream. In 1974, I had $425 to my name. I bought 21 carpet remnants, rented an old lumber shed, and opened Deaton's Rug Barn on East College. I worked long hours with the hope of taking care of my family. I'm so thankful to Jesus who changed my life. He gave me a dream. So in 1985, we opened Deaton's Carpet One on the 45 bypass with a commitment to customer satisfaction. My friends, don't give up on your dream because your dream can come true.
Hi, I'm Cody Fitz with Fitscapes. Our business's focus is on building your dream yard at your dream home. When designing our backyards, we always like to start with our pool and patio areas first. Then we complement that with the landscaping, and we finish with the lawn for all of the outdoor entertaining needs. After installation is complete, we provide annual maintenance for all of your lawn care and landscaping needs. Fitscapes, let's build something beautiful.
Hey Jackson, it's game time, and the winning lineup is right here at Chuck Hutton Nissan. Our top players are ready to take the field. Rogue, Sentra, Pathfinder, Altima, and Kicks. Big savings, special incentives, and Nissan's built to win the game. Don't sit on the sidelines. Run to Chuck Hutton Nissan today and make the winning drive home in your new Nissan. Chuck Hutton Nissan, just off I-40, exit 80 or 80B on Van Drive in Jackson, Tennessee.
Beauty House Social, Jackson's premier blowout bar and full-service salon and med spa. From lashes and facials to cosmetic injections and lasers, we have it all. Let's be social.
Does Shelter Insurance cover shiny red cars?
Yeah.
What about purple vans?
Also, yes.
Monster trucks?
What's going on, son?
From shiny red cars to purple minivans, you can count on Shelter's local agents to help you protect what matters most.
Welcome back to McKenzie, Tennessee here at Walter Butler Stadium as we just had our national anthem, and we'll be seeing the players come right out of the locker rooms here in a moment. Before we get started, though, I want to run over our Bethel our starters for this afternoon. On offense for the Wildcats, they'll be led by quarterback number 2, Dustin Chance, who's thrown for, I want to say, 770 yards, has 6 touchdowns to his ledger so far this year. The running back tandem will be Jarvis Stockton and Jordan Kaysen alongside Ryan Clark in the backfield. The offensive line will feature Christian Harden, Aaron Robinson, Jaden Taylor, Jaka Fox, and Sean Farnham in the start 5, reading from left to right. And the wide receiving core will consist of number 7, Ray Harvey, number 6, Jaden Pressey, number 1, Ethan Bunch, and at tight end, number 19, Ivan Arroyo. And, Hub, you have the Cumberland defense that they'll be going up against today.
The Cumberland defense will be Tavion Clarkey, C.J. Miller, and Josh Jones for the defensive line. Amani Mimior will be the defensive end, I guess. They put him as the J, so he may be a rover / linebacker, outside linebacker kind of thing. Will Harris, Eli Denton will be your 2 middle linebackers, I would suppose. And then Keaton Hill will be your ST back. And then your cornerbacks will be Sakaya Hanna and Dan Smith. And then your safeties will be Sean and Surfert and Kenan Johnson. And the offensive lineup for the Cumberland University Phoenix quarterback will be Jalen Apston. And then the running back core will be Jacob Cornjo and Rod Payne. And as Trevor gave you, the offensive line for the Cumberland Phoenix will be Will Sanchez, Logan Martin, Sailor Toole, Drake Fisher, and Colin Nelson will be your offensive line for the Phoenix. Isaiah O'Neal, Isaac Finch, and Jarius Rogers will be your wide receiving core, and the tight end will be Devin Williams.
Wildcats will counter with it, running a 4-2-5 defense with Amari Chapman, number 32, Travis Shaw, number 0, TJ Hart, number 54, and number 22, Malik Brown at the front 4. Their 2 linebackers that have wreaked havoc on opposing offenses, number 44, Darian Lewis, and number 10, Brylan Jordan. Jordan already has a touchdown on the year on a scoop and score. And then the 5 defenders in the backfield at cornerback, you have KJ Murder, number 3, and number 17, Kadarius Rancifer. And then your 3 behind them, number 9, Brandon Hall, number 8, Jose Joyner, and number 5, Darrell Miller. Darrell Miller leads the team averaging in tackles so far on the season. We're about 2 minutes and 35 seconds away here from kickoff as the Wildcats are coming out of the locker room on the west side of the field. They are sporting their purple breeches, their black tops, and their sparkling white helmets. For Cumberland, they're going to be in all white as white pants, white tops, and white caps with burgundy numbers, so hopefully we should be able to see them running across the field today. We're going to head to commercial break to get Diamond Dave McCulley back in here for play-by-play. Thank you to Derek Hubble for joining me for the pregame show. This is the BallGame Blitz on Worthy Road Studios. We'll be right back for kickoff.
At FMY Orthodontics, we believe a beautiful, healthy smile is the key to boosting confidence and enhancing quality of life. Our team of highly skilled and compassionate orthodontic professionals is dedicated to providing personalized care in a welcoming, state-of-the-art environment. Whether you're looking for traditional braces, clear aligners, or other orthodontic solutions, we offer a variety of options to meet your needs. Our goal is to provide the most effective and efficient orthodontic treatment for every patient.
And welcome back, everybody. Thanks to Derek Hubble and Trevor Roof. Great job with the countdown to kickoff. I'm Dave McCulley, about a minute and 20 seconds before we kick it off. And, Trevor, you look at these teams, pretty evenly matched in a lot of categories. I was talking to the radio crew, and they do a great job over there, I might add. But Bob Lee's been around for a long, long time, the color analyst for Cumberland University. And those guys who was telling me that one of the bugaboos for this team is being able to run the football. And they've looked at the D-line of Bethel, and they think they're going to have some problems with that today.
No doubt, because unfortunately one of the big things that Bethel has really done well is they've limited their opponents to not being able to run the football. As stated earlier in the pregame, they've only allowed 60 yards per game rushing. And with the stout front 4 and the 2 linebackers of Jordan and Lewis both leading the team in tackles for the unit, they're going to be a stout unit to go against for the Phoenix today, no doubt about that.
An unusual year in scheduling. The Cats open up, of course, losing to Mary Hardin Baylor in the game that they very well could have won. They lost to Kaiser, and obviously that was the forfeit down there on the 13th of September. Weber University here, that was the game that we brought you back on the 20th of September. And then, of course, Faulkner University down in Montgomery, a game that the Cats wound up winning. So been sort of unusual. I guess if you're an SID, you sort of like the fact that you only have 4 home games because there's less work for the SID department. But as an AD, it's a nightmare because you're trying to find that money for travel. And we're traveling a lot this year, 5 road games and 4 home games. I think one of the big keys, too, is to get off to a good start in this game. And Chance in the game, boy, he's coming off a nice hit. Threw a couple of interceptions, but I nominated him to be the player of the week this past week. He didn't win. We had a guy in the league that rushed for 3 touchdowns and caught 2 touchdown passes. But it's one of those deals, but Chance is really, I mean, his numbers before he got here up in Illinois were just staggering. And you look at him, and if this offensive line can give him some protection, he can do some damage against her defense.
He sure can. And one of his favorite targets that he's been able to connect with a lot with over the season, number 6, Jaden Pressey. He's back there for kickoff return. Told me earlier this week that they're going to get him back there on kickoff return just to get him some more all-purpose yards, because he's really trying to get his stats up, because you never know where your next step is going to be, but you always want to make sure that you perform to your greatest. He and Chance have been able to connect on a lot of touchdown passes so far this year, and for the Bethel Wildcats, they want to see that trend continue going into today.
Jack Cantner will tee it up for the Cumberland University. I almost want to call them Bulldogs from time to time. Of course, now they're the Phoenix. By the way, Ron Pavement, the outstanding athletic director, will join me at halftime. We have a very special presentation. Ricky Price and the gang at halftime from Pepsi. It's Pepsi Giveaway Fansville Day. A year's supply of Dr. Pepper is being given away here. And you and I and all the gang in the booth, though, we don't know who's going to win it, but we know how they might win it. But Cantner will kick it off. He's from Blue Ridge, Georgia. And Presley, you talked about getting the ball back here in his hands. You get the ball in the playmaker's hands, no doubt about it. And here's the kick. And it's going to be Pressey at about the 12-yard line. He's going to scoot to about the 15 to the 20. Boy, he's hit hard there. And he got to the 21. That's it.
Yeah, that was a big hit right there. Did not get a great job on the protection for the Cats. As they're going to get the ball right at the 20-yard line, but could have had a lot bigger explosive play had they gotten a better job leading out the block for Pressey there.
There's the great replay. Ben Bitterling is on the camera today along with Paul Schultze. Paul Schultze is the executive producer and director of our broadcast from Worthy Road Studios and the BallGame Blitz. And Christopher Reason's one of the best guys I've ever worked with. He is our producer and director here in the booth with us. We have a crowded booth here today, but that's okay. We all wore our deodorant. It will be the quarterback, Mr. Chance, Destin Chance, coming off a big game, and he's had a really good year. He's in the shotgun back there, running back to his right. And we'll start with the run, and it didn't get anywhere. A loss of a couple, 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, they look like they wanted to come with pressure to try and eliminate Stockton from being able to get an early going, and they had a guy coming in off the side, and he was unblocked and just made the play in the backfield.
Chance, we mentioned, 70 of 112, 770 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's rushed for a touchdown as well. Drops back, wants to throw, and it's incomplete. Do it a little bit behind that time. Nathan, that Clemmer?
No,
that was actually Micah Jones.
Yeah.
Young man from Jackson, Alabama. He's caught 16 passes this year, 2 of them touchdowns. He just misfired that time, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a fraction behind him, and Jones had some space on his defensive back, so he could have caught and had a little bit of run after catch, but unfortunately the pass just a little behind, and there was a misconnect there.
What a great day the Lord's given us. Not a cloud in the sky, 76 degrees, and a little breeze up here. Chance in the pocket. Chance throws. Chance incomplete, and almost picked off. High on the pass that time. Probably, to be honest with you, Pressey would tell you should have caught it, though.
Yeah, Pressey's one of the type of guys where if he puts his hand on the football, he expects to come down with it. And there's been times where that can almost get him in trouble where he's fighting for extra yards. But that time the pass just wasn't able to get connected, and the Wildcats are going to start out 3 and out and have to punt it away.
I don't know that we've ever had a more superstar stat team today than we have O'Kelly, along with Hubble and Shante. It's like old times here, and we'll have to punt it away.
It's a combination of your year's hard work, Mr. Dave.
I'm not sure about that. They're hard work. Well, we need a good punt here. If you're a Bethel fan, a little sidestep and not a great kick. Straight up in the air. Horrible kick or punt. Now we get a good roll out of it, though. Bethel does. And, Trevor, sometimes luck is part of the game, and Bethel got more out of that than they probably deserved, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt. I talked with Logan Miller, the punter, about what his stat line looked like last week, because I looked at the stats, and he had a punt go -3 yards, and he said the reason for that was, well, they wanted me to try and roll out in order to kick, and he did a very similar thing there. And I guess when he got the kick last week, instead of the roll that was fortunate that we had so far today, the roll was backwards. So that may be something that the Wildcats may want to look and see if they can change to enable to push the ball downfield if they're in punting situations.
Well, let's see who's going to start. I was told right before kickoff, Abster may not start. He's got a bum shoulder. This may be Parker. Let's wait and see. It is Parker. Well, we had movement, and I think the receiver took off too early, to be honest with you. Here's the replay. There's Mr. Galloway with the Corey Galloway with the white hat. False start. Yeah, Parker's getting the start today. I should have told you guys that. He's a redshirt junior, 6'2", 206. I was told, as a matter of fact, while you guys were in the pregame, that Abster, their quarterback, has a bum shoulder, and they're holding him out, and Parker gets the start. Wide outs left and right. Play fake. Parker wants to throw, does throw. Here's the pass down there intended for the receiver and incomplete. Nice coverage by the Cats.
That was great coverage by Rancifer. Wasn't able to turn his head around, but he did a great job of getting his hands up and not running into the receiver there. As you look at this replay, great pass from Parker, put it right in the breadbasket, but Rancifer's just right there, made it a little bit difficult and threw his hands up to avoid the flag.
That was a great play defensively. Hatchett, the intended receiver, by the way, he has 8 receptions on the year, one of those a touchdown. 13:58. We played a little over a minute here in this first half. Again, mid-70s, a little breeze. The flag, though, pretty limp down to my right, so shouldn't be an effect on punting, I wouldn't think, in the game. They put a man in motion, set him down on the right, and they hand the ball off, and running that football with authority to the 40, to the 45, and tumbling his way for good yardage. And that was
Corner Joe, the
nice
sophomore. Run. Busted right up the middle of the seam and fought hard for some extra yardage once he got to that second level.
Camojo carried it. He just tucked that ball in his belly and put his head down, didn't he?
For sure.
3rd down and 5. On the year, 35% on 3rd down conversions, Cumberland. Bethel's right there at about 37. Here's a same running back, and he carried it. He's very close. I think he's going to be a tad short. Well, I don't know. If the left foot's the marker, he didn't get it. If the right foot is, he got it. And they're looking at it pretty sternly here.
Near side judge is ruling 4th down, and I think the far side judge is going to let him stick with it. It'll be 4th and short.
And that's good officiating. They looked at each other. You saw the replay on the Cat logo. That logo, the old logo of years past, designed by the late lovely Peggy McCulley. I always bring that up. 4th and less than a yard. Parker in that shotgun. Looked like they were going to try to bark the cadence out a little different, pull Bethel off sides. It's 4th and less than a yard at their own 49-yard line. Parker gets it this time, hands it off to the running back, and he didn't get much, but he got enough. Need about a yard, and he got that.
Yeah. They blew the play dead, and unfortunate for the Cats is Cornigeau still was on his feet, but there will be enough yardage to move the chains, and it'll be a first set of downs for the Phoenix.
Chapman, Shaw, Hart, Brown, the front line. Lewis, who's the leading tackle of this team, the linebacker, along with Jordan. He's an outstanding player as well. Murden, Hall, Miller, Joyner, and Rancher, the secondary. Well, he got about 2 yards, actually, down to about the 47. Just inside the 47. We approach the 12-minute mark of the first stanza. Glad you're with us this afternoon watching and listening to Wildcat football. Cats trying to up their record to 3-2. Here's the sweep, and running that right corner and turning that corner and getting good positive yardage this time is Isaac Finch.
That was a good run, good play design as it got the ball moving outside quickly, and the Cats were just a fraction of a bit behind in order to get him to the line, as T.J. Hart wasn't able to get him in the backfield, and they were able to move the ball for about a good 5-yard gain.
The only comparison between these teams scoring-wise, Bethel averages 25-7. They average 25. They yield 26-2. The biggest difference is Bethel's defense is only yielding 14.7. Hand off this time, and running it will be Mamouni, and he gets good yardage.
So far, this offensive line of the Phoenix is getting some good push on the Wildcats. They're absorbing the hits on the away from the running attack and then pushing forward and gaining level into the second level to move the chain or move the line.
I apologize. Kanojo is the guy that ran that football. Another first down. They started at their 42 after not a very good punt by Bethel. And it's going to be Parker in that gun again. Puts his wing in motion, sets him down here to the left now. One back to his right. Hands that football, and there's Kanojo again. And he gets a few yards, but not much. The Cats push him back. This run defense, again, that Trevor alluded to earlier, 61 yards per game. And you get under 100, you're in the top 10-5 of the entire nation.
For sure. The Cats finally got a good stance right there as their defensive line was able to stand up to the offensive line push from Cumberland. And now it's going to set up the Phoenix to have a little bit longer on second down than what they've had so far this drive.
Parker, the backup quarterback, getting the start because of the injury. Cartersville, Georgia. Second down, they put in motion this time, and they give it to the Parker's going to keep it. He faked the jet sweep. Looked like he was handing that ball off to Hatchett, who is split out here to the near side, and he kept it, and he's got another first down.
When you run that RPO option, it really does make your defense have to be disciplined to stay in their gaps, and right there you see I believe that may have been
big hole.
Yeah, it was Malik Brown that had just taken
Yep.
a little stutter step towards the jet sweep right there, and instead gave up lane for Parkey to move.
He did not get the first down. I apologize. He's third and less than a yard. The ball marked at the 26-yard line of Bethel. Bethel went 3 up and 3 down. They got the ball at their own 42, and they methodically moved the ball down Bethel's side. And here's the handoff, and he may have got it, but he didn't get it by much. He did get it inside the 25, right at the 25-yard line, had to get just inside the 26. And again, the defensive line stifles, but not enough. And that was not bad defense. The Cats did all they could and had a shot at him back there, but couldn't hold on.
Well, unfortunately for the Cats, when you're giving up and setting yourself up with having third and short circumstances, even good defensive plays are not going to set you up for success, even if you stand them up.
That O-line, too. Sanchez, Orr, Martin, Toll, and Fisher. Here's Parker, the play fake. Throws out in the flat, man wide open. That's going to be caught, and inside the 20 down to about the 15-yard line. Hustling his way there will be that Cantor that caught it. That Cantor's the kicker. Let's see who caught that ball. Here's Parker, and he's going to throw it out there. It's not Cantor. That's actually going to be number 87. I apologize. That is Devin Williams that caught it. Well, second down, and Trevor, you hit it on the head. You give them second or third down and short, and they're probably going to convert most of them. Again, they're 35% of the year in third down conversions. This is a second down call. Let's see if they go up top. Nope, they're going to go right for the run, and plunging his way for the first down will be the running back. It's another first down.
It's a good job right there from the defensive back rushing in there. I want to say that is Darrell Miller that came in, threw a hat down at the legs, but unfortunately having that second and short gave Cumberland an easy opportunity to move the chains.
Yeah, Darrell, great point. Darrell is a Memphis Whitehaven product, a sophomore, second leading tackler on the team, 5'9", 185. First and 10 at the 14. I wouldn't say they made it look easy, but they had their way here. Parker hands it off. Same running back. Goes right, nothing there, door closed. So he says, let me see if I can sneak here to the left, and he gets a few yards.
Cats are doing a good job of being gap mindful on the front line now. They're really trying to make sure that Cornjo is not able to run right behind the tackles and get a very positive
good point.
Of gains.
You know, the other thing they're doing here, they're keeping Bethel's offense, which is pretty potent, at keeping them off the field right now. This has been a long drive. They took it at about the 12.5-minute mark. It's 7-11 left here. And they've just controlled the ball and controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part. It's got to be second down and a good 7. Parker running back to his right. Keeps it this time on the play fake. He's going to keep it. He breaks a tackle, gets inside the 10, and a host of Cats will push him back there.
It was a good job of gang tackling by the Wildcats. They got to be careful, though. Next time you hear the whistle, just go ahead and ease up, because the last thing you want to do is commit silly, unsportsmanlike penalty and give them first and goal inside the 5.
Don't give them anything cheap. You're exactly right. 6:35, clock running. No score in the game.